If you're struggling with something, if you have a dream and you're struggling with that dream, the person that doesn't give up, that's courage when you're not so good at something and you keep doing it and you keep fighting and you keep pushing until you get it. That's courage to me because let's face it, it's scary when you dive into something and then you realize you're not that good at it, but you can get better. There's enough resources today and technology and we're so much more capable of things than what we think. So that's courage to not be so good at something and keep going until you get it right.
Today's guest is Tommy Carbasho, the creator of Forbidden Chronicles, a podcast exploring ancient mysteries, hidden histories, and the secret of human potential. He is also the author of How Not to Suck as a Human. Love that title. A user's guide to be a better you, a practical and empowering guide to personal growth and transformation. Welcome, Tommy.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
Wow, there's so much to talk about, or about your books and everything, the podcast. So let's get stuck straight in. What is one of the most courageous things that you have done?
I would say definitely quitting my job. A year ago, I quit my job and just dove into this journey, I guess I'm on to be an entrepreneur, author, podcaster. So I had a pretty good job with a company truck and everything, and I couldn't take it anymore either, honestly, because it's hard to work for people sometimes. Some people are just not nice to work with, so I put up with a lot of things that I shouldn't have for a long time, and finally I had to go and do my own thing. So, but it was months of thinking about that and what am I going to do? What if it doesn't work? And
Yeah.
there's just so many questions and fears. And the one weekend I just sat with myself and I said I'm going to go in Monday and put in my notice. That's it. I'm done. So definitely that was the hardest thing I've ever done because once you're used to security,
Yeah.
you have a paycheck coming in, you have a nice company vehicle, and it was difficult to do, but and it wasn't easy. It was a struggle for a
Mm.
while.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's like you say, security is the first thing that would come up. So, what made you want to do that?
I think just the more and more I thought about life and how we should be living, that wasn't it for me.
Mm.
Working for somebody that doesn't appreciate pretty much anything, I guess. But just the thankless hours. It was a management position, so it was countless hours and weekends and holidays, and then when something goes wrong, you're it's always your fault. So, and I don't want to live like that.
Mm.
I the more I thought about it, what I have to be happy.
Mm.
So, and I think we all do. Whatever makes us happy, that's the key to life.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about. If it doesn't serve you anymore, you don't feel great about it. You don't want to do it anymore. Absolutely.
I remember hearing that. I remember hearing people talking about it when I was younger, saying, money's not everything. It doesn't matter. And I grew up not having a lot of money, and and I always thought that was just something people said. I'm like, oh, that's bull crap. If you're making a lot of money, you have to be happy. So, but definitely not. And I think we I think we should all progress in
Yeah.
our lives and change. I know a lot of people don't like change, but change is good, especially if it's first for the better. So we should all be trying to change.
Absolutely. I can't wait to get stuck in, especially about your book, but I'll have to contain myself for a little bit longer. So tell me more about the electric company that you featured and television and everything. Tell me more about that. I'd love to know more about that.
Yeah, that's something I'm still working on, and I'm
Mhm.
really excited about that because it's going to be a collection of holistic practitioners, if you will,
Mhm.
or coaches, pretty much anybody that's helping other people get better. So
Mhm.
self-help coaches, motivational coaches, nutrition, any holistic practitioner. I'm collecting all these folks, and it's gonna the network that I'm on, Gnostic TV, has really revolutionized the way they do these summits, and they call it a symposium.
Mm.
So everybody that speaks gets their own link. And instead of waiting, I'm sure you remember in the days when you had to wait 5 hours to get to your speaker, and so they have revolutionized this to where you get your own link and you give it to your followers, and so they see your video first, and then the other ones are below, so you can still watch them all, but
Mhm.
at your own pace, and they leave them up forever. It's not one of those things where they say, well, it's for 3 days you can view it or whatever. They leave it up forever, so it's really a great platform for anybody really that wants to speak and get their word out and get their business out or practice out. It's really a great platform for that. So I'm in the middle of putting that together right now, and I'm really excited about that, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, you're dedicated to building that community of healers and seekers. So that's absolutely beautiful and well
Yeah.
done. I think we all need places like that to go to if we need some help. And not only that, to hear inspirational content.
Yeah. And it wasn't I have a certificate in holistic health,
Hmm.
but I found out that I think I'm better at giving a platform for those practitioners than I am being a coach. So I can give advice if you want it, but I would rather put this platform together and let other people have a really good space to go and feel
Hmm.
comfortable and talk about what they're doing and help people. I feel better doing that. I feel like that's what I should be doing instead of coaching people.
Yeah, absolutely. And with your 30 years of experience in leadership, I'm not surprised that that's where, you can build this absolutely to be a brilliant service. Well done. Absolutely.
Thank you.
I absolutely love the title of your book. You are the author of How Not to Suck as a Human. I mean, doesn't everyone want to know how not to do that? It's a user's guide to a better you. Just tell me more about that. I'm absolutely thrilled.
Yeah, I came up with that name, I don't know, I guess a couple years ago, and I've actually had this book done for close to a year, and
Mhm.
it was just sitting around because you get those fears that what if people don't like it? What if it sucks?
Yeah.
And so I had all these thoughts going through my head, but I definitely I didn't want to write it like a normal book. I think it's 102 pages. So I
Mhm.
wanted something people could read in a day, and there's some humor in it, and there's chapters about a little bit of everything, everyday life. Just things that people might be doing that they don't realize they're doing that might not be good for other people. So, like road rage
Yeah.
and just a little bit of everything for everyday life,
Mhm.
how to kind of get through life and be nice to people because it really shouldn't be that hard to be a good human, right? It's just about being nice and kind. And I remember a few years ago reading Jack Canfield, and he had an exercise where you did three random acts of kindness every day for I think it was 7 or 10 days. And he said, just do this for these days every day, and you don't tell anybody about them. You don't come home and say, oh, I carried groceries for this lady or something. You just do them and let it be. And it makes a big difference in your life when you do that. You want to keep doing that after the 10 days. That was another thing that stuck with me when I was writing this book was doing good things for people. If you have a whole buggy full of groceries and there's someone behind you with 2 items, let that person go first.
Mm.
And just simple things that could make somebody's day, or let somebody pull in front of you in traffic that's trying to get out, because you don't know their story. Maybe their child's sick and they're trying to get home, or we just never know what someone's going through. And I think so many times we judge people. The first thing we do, right, is, oh, that guy's trying to cut me off, and so I think we naturally sometimes go to the negative side, when if we would work on it a little bit and go to the positive side, it makes you feel so much better.
Absolutely, and it is like you say, you don't know what's going on, but it's being that better human. I mean, like your book says, how not to suck as a human. If everyone just took one thing from your book, I'm sure it would be better for everyone. Everyday life, like gratitude, like you said, just being courteous, just helping someone. It doesn't take long. Letting someone in the traffic will take literally 2 minutes of your time, and they might even turn off, so therefore they weren't even in front of you for too long. It's the little things that have the biggest impact, and the personal joy in doing things like that. Absolutely.
For sure, and that should happen in your home too.
Mhm.
Uh, my wife, I'm so grateful for my wife, and I show that to her all the time. I make her dinner. I get her coffee. I do probably 95% of the cooking in our house, but I enjoy it. I enjoy cooking, and
Mhm.
so I try to incorporate all these things in my home, and it makes your marriage so much better when you're nice.
Mhm.
Uh, and really, in reality, we should be nicer to the people at home than we are. I see a lot of people they're out in public and they're so nice to their friends, and then in their home they're yelling at each other, and it's like it doesn't make sense to me. So we should be nicer to the people we're closest to.
Absolutely. And this is where the ripple effect occurs. It's with yourself first, then your family, and then your community, and then the wider world. It's always going out, but you've got to start with yourself. So that's why I love How Not to Suck at Life. It's a personal, and you've got to start with yourself. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I really love that.
It does take a lot of work. You have to work on yourself continuously, right? Because we get these habits and we don't want to let go of these habits. So it takes constant work. You have to make a list of things that you want to work on and keep that list close to you. And that way you see it every day.
Mm,
Uh, even if it says be nicer, make a list. That way you can look at it, and you have to. I think everybody knows what they need to work on,
yeah.
right? Uh, It's just the fact of people don't want to do it, or they're afraid that, you know, people might make fun of them if they're acting a certain way, if they're being nicer to everybody, especially in a workspace. We've all heard the, teacher's pet, whatever it is, when you're being nice to people at work. And I just think we need to get rid of the labels. We need to get rid of
Mm.
the being afraid of what people think of us, and just be who we are, and be nice to each other.
Absolutely, and I can't echo that enough. And yeah, it is the labels. And then sometimes you see people that have this persona, they have to act a certain way in front of other people just to make that other person comfortable, or try and make themselves feel, they're this hard person, or they have to behave like this to get respect. And it doesn't work like that. Come from who you are, come from the heart. And there's a lot more of that in business now and in companies. I'm seeing that. But you still get some people that aren't adhering to that.
Yes. So we, yeah. and it's hard to be around those people, especially if you're working on yourself and you're trying to be positive. You're gonna lose friends and family.
Mm,
Uh,
mm,
it's it's definitely gonna happen. And
mm,
I heard it early on, and I didn't believe it. I'm like, oh, it's that doesn't make any sense. But the more and more I worked on myself, and especially when I quit my job and started getting into all these other things, there was a lot of trash talk,
mm,
and you have to push through it and forget about it and believe in yourself. We're capable of so much more than what we think. And I think fear and just basic fear and the fear of other people talking about us or making fun of us holds us back more than anything else in life.
absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Yes. And fear is one of the things that keep us stuck where we are. Absolutely. Yeah. So you are the host of Forbidden Chronicles, a podcast exploring ancient mystery, hidden histories. I love that, hidden histories, and the secrets of human potential. Tell me more about that.
So, yeah, this was supposed to be all about ancient history. I'm really fascinated with the Sumerians, Babylonians, all that, ancient Egypt. I'm just fascinated with it, and I'm kind of a geek, I love dragons, but the more I got into this podcast, the more holistic practitioners I started getting. So
Mm,
it's become more of that than anything else. So I've gotten to love that. I don't want to fight the universe. We we all know we're not going to win that fight. So I just I take what comes to me, and now I'm glad I did. I'm glad I turned it this way because I have Reiki practitioners on. I've had
mm,
mediums on. I've
mm,
had sound frequency healers on, and soul healers, and all these really cool people to talk to. And I've learned so much. And now I would just want to keep doing that. I have all these shows that are in my laptop that I want to do about dragons and all that stuff. But whenever I think about it, that's not helping people.
mm,
And all these practitioners that need a platform to talk about their work, they are helping people. So by having them on, we're working together to make this world a little bit better.
and isn't it what it's all about?
Yes, I
Mm,
believe that is what it's all
mm,
about.
yeah.
And it takes a lot of people never figure that out. They think everything's about what's the best for me, right? What do I want to
Mm,
do? What do I need to do today? And whenever we stop that and think about what can I do to help people out? I think it really changes the way you think about life, and it changes the things that come to you too, right?
mm,
Because I always say the law of attraction's working whether you believe it or not. So the universe is going to give you what you want, whether it's what you want or not. It's what you're talking about most and thinking about most. That's what you're going to get more of. So if we're being positive and we're helping people, that's what we're going to get back. And if you're negative and complaining about, and we all have those days where you get up out of bed and you smack your toe and you drop the toothbrush on the floor, and then you get a flat tire on the way to the store, and it's just a domino effect of crap. and and it's how you take those days that makes the difference in your life. If you just blow it off and okay, let me just fix it and move on. Let's go. Let's just keep moving. Uh, but too many times people just they melt down, and then it's even worse.
it,
The next thing's going to be even worse because you're already mad, and so now you're calling in more of this.
mm,
So yeah, I think too many times we react instantly whenever we should just sit back and say, "Ooh, let's just look at this for what it is. Nobody's out to get me. The universe doesn't hate me. This is just something that happened. Let's just get through it and move on."
I love what you said about reacting
React.
instantly. Yeah. But the thing is here, how about responding? Just having that few moments to respond instead of reacting to it.
Yes,
Absolutely. You know, there's a big difference here. Yes.
for sure. And that's where road rage comes in.
Mm,
It's as soon as uh, man, if you want to see what's really inside of people, just ride with them for a few hours, and it all comes out.
wow. Yeah. And I'm sure the air turns blue on many occasions too.
Right. Yeah.
What is one of the most important lessons you've learned over your life so far?
There's a couple of them. I would say one of the biggest things that helped me in life was realizing that we don't know anything as humans. We all think, especially when you're in your mid to late 20s, you think you know it all, right? And so I think that's one of the biggest things that helped me was realizing that we don't know anything. We we think we do, and we know a little bit about the things here on earth and what we can know, but there's so many things that we don't. And that's part of the thing that's really amazing now to me, having all these different practitioners on. There's whole other worlds out there that we don't know about. So I think just constantly learning. I want to constantly learn. That's probably one of the biggest things that helped me.
Absolutely. You love cooking, so tell me more about that.
I always have, especially on the grill. It was, a lot of guys love the grill, but when I did the holistic health school, there was a lot of cooking in there. So we learned about a lot of different diets. We learned how to cook a lot of different meals, and I just got to love doing that, especially when it's healthy,
Mm-hmm.
because it's delicious and it's good for you. So you can eat and not feel guilty about it. So stir fries and all these things. And you learn how to cook good meals for your kids,
Mm,
which is to me even more important because our kids
absolutely.
are our future, right? So we definitely want to take care of them and feed them healthy foods and not sorry, but not Taco Bell and McDonald's and all the chicken nuggets, all these things that kids love to eat. I know they love to eat it, but maybe as a treat once in a while.
So tell me more about the book because it's a user's guide to be better you. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so there's chapters on everyday life, driving, parenting, hunting and fishing,
Mm,
right? Because so many times you see people that don't respect nature. I love to fish. That's one of my passions. I love to get out and fish. So, and almost every single time I go, I find trash on the ground, fishing
mm,
line, a big ball of fishing line laying there, and I know one time we went to the lake and we saw this duck that was trying to it was kind of going out in the water and then coming back and swimming in circles. So I knew there was something wrong with it. So I
mm.
go over there and you could see immediately there's a giant ball of line tangled around. So it had both of its feet tied together.
Oh,
So I went out in the lake and got it. And, there's, of course, there's a guy standing there that's like, oh, you can't mess with those ducks. They're protected. And like, he's just going to stand there and watch the duck die. So I grab it and it's so tangled up and it had a fish hook in its foot. So we take it home and I cut all that stuff out of it. My friend had a pond. So we took it over there and let it hang around that pond and it flew away. But that made me think too, like
mm,
some people just don't care.
mm,
They just don't see the bad things that happen when they throw that line on the ground or just so many things. And it's
mm.
really there's no reason for it, right? Because you brought that stuff in, so you have room to take it back. It's really just laziness and I don't know. I don't know what the other reason is. I can't for the life of me think of why people do it. I
Yeah.
mean,
And I think you're
because when I
right. It is
Yeah, and
connecting us.
that's another thing
Mm,
that we can do to be better people is pick that piece of trash up if you see it. Even if you're at work and you see something on the floor, pick it up. It's not that hard,
mhm.
and it makes a big difference in everybody's lives.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if there was one key takeaway you want every listener to walk away with today, what would that be?
I would say just think about the difference in everybody's lives if you were a nicer person. So if you really worked on yourself and tried to be nice to everybody, how great that would be for everybody in your life. And people notice it too. When you do these that do the practice that Jack Canfield talks about. Do the 3 random acts of kindness and don't tell anybody and watch what happens. You'll notice a difference in the way people treat you. It comes back. The universe gives it back to you. So it sounds like woo woo. I know. I was one of those guys when I was young that I didn't believe it. I thought it was, oh, that's so dumb. That's really not true. We're we create our own lives, but we create our own lives whether we think we are or not. It could be you could be creating your bad life too that you don't like. That's your fault.
I love that. Absolutely love it. And it is, it's so true. We are the creators of everything we do. And even when we don't create, we are still creating because we're creating nothing.
That's a big one. That is
Mhm.
a big one. If you choose not to decide, you're still making a choice.
Mhm.
You just chose not to do anything. So make the right choice and do something. Uh, a little bit of something good's better than nothing, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, everything we can do, especially if it's towards your goal as well. So doing something bad's better than doing nothing. At least you tried,
Yeah,
and if it doesn't come out right, then try again. Don't. But giving up is the only way to fail. Now, if you're trying something and you know you don't like it, and you've put your best in, it's okay to stop doing that and move on. It's all right. But at least at least try to the point that you know you gave it your best and well, I don't like this or it's not really working out. This isn't for me. That's okay. That's all right to move on. And I mean, I've moved on from a lot of things. I was
hmm
building websites last year and digital advertising, and I hated it. So why keep doing something if I was starting to get clients, but then I got to the point where I would get a call about it and I'm like, oh, I don't really. So what's the point then?
yeah,
Right? If
absolutely.
you're going to work for yourself, it has to be something that you love doing.
hmm
It has to be something that you want to get up at 5 a.m. for, or still be working at 9 o'clock at night. And those things will happen when you work for yourself. You have to because there's nobody else to help you. You're going to do everything on your own, and yeah, it's going to suck for a while. It's definitely worth it when you find that little niche that you fit into and you're happy doing what you're doing. That's
Absolutely.
I think that's the key to happiness in our life, right? Is doing something every day that we enjoy doing.
Absolutely. Can't echo that enough. Absolutely. Yeah. So, where can the listeners find you online, your podcast? What's your website, Tommy?
It's forbiddenchronicles.com. I'm still working on that website. I didn't have one for a long time. I've been working on it, but I try to do it myself because I used to build myself, but all the information is on there. And my book is on Amazon. How to Not Suck as a Human. That's a really easy title to remember. My symposium is also on the website, The Electric Company. Yeah, if anyone's interested in that, that's a great platform to be on. It really is. The people at Gnostic TV are just incredible, loving people, and they're super kind and super helpful. So it's great to surround yourself with people like that. And that's another thing I try to get through to people is l- pay attention to who you're hanging around with because we're the medium of all of our friends, right? So If all of your friends are not doing so great in life, then you might want to look at that. And I mean, we can't get rid of everybody, but you can choose different friends to bring in and different
Mm,
people. I like masterminds a lot too.
mm,
So if you're whatever you're doing, there's a mastermind for everything now. Whatever field you're in or want to get into, whether or just trying to be a better person, there's all these groups you can join, and there's mastermind videos, chats, and you can talk to people that are doing what you want to do. So
absolutely.
it's too hard to do alone,
Mm,
completely alone. It's very hard. It's very lonely. So you definitely want to get people in your life that are thinking like you think, and want to succeed. If you're hanging around people that want to drink alcohol and play video games all day, and it's you're probably not gonna they're probably not gonna succeed very well.
absolutely. Yeah, for sure. It's definitely the company you keep is how you behave.
Yeah, and it's hard to do uh, because people that have been your friends for so long, and you don't
Mm,
realize how toxic they are, and you just kind of have to start spending less and less time with those people, and it's hard to do because
mm,
they're going to notice it right away. And sometimes it takes a tough conversation to say, you know what, I'm sorry, but you're negative all the time, and it's hard to deal with.
mm,
Sometimes it's a hard conversation to make some people don't even realize, right? We Because you're so caught up in your life, you're
mm.
busy, you're taking care of kids and grandkids and going to practice and trying to get dinner and all these things going on, and you don't realize you're being nasty to people throughout this whole thing. Sometimes people don't even realize it, and maybe they need a little push to be a nicer person.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for sharing your insightful wisdom and knowledge with us today. And by doing so, you have helped so many people and made a difference. I'd really like to acknowledge you for that, Tommy Carbasho.
Thank you so much for having me, because this has really become my passion to help people
Mm,
become better people. And I dream of I'm big on Atlantis, right? So ancient history is my thing. So I always think of Atlantis being this awesome community where everybody helps each other, and everybody is nice to each other, and we just live in love. And
mm,
that's my dream. That's the kind of people I want to have around me, where you trade your skills and help each other out, and we're just nice to each other.
absolutely. Creating a better world to live into. So we are all about Create the Courage to be Fearless podcast here. What is your definition of courage?
I would say courage is not doing something well and keep doing it. So if you're struggling with something, if you have a dream and you're struggling with that dream, the person that doesn't give up, that's courage. When you're not so good at something and you keep doing it and you keep fighting and you keep pushing until you get it. That's courage to me, because let's face it, it's scary when you dive into something and then you realize you're not that good at it, but you can get better. There's enough resources today and technology, and we're so much more capable of things than what we think. So that's courage, to not be so good at something and keep going until you get it right.